Okay, case number RP 221-20163. It's a trust contest. I'm reading from a transcript from case number RP 221-20163, Alameda County, August 19th, 2024. Case of a cancer patient who died, and his three siblings got nothing that they were supposed to get, and the trustee's attorney, who got $57,000 for ripping off the three siblings, is making up all kinds of stories and lies about how they were offered $30,000 and they never took it. They never offered 30 cents to any of the siblings. They just totally ripped them off, and they're trying to make up some stories in court. Okay, so then the story goes that the daughters never saw the non-Jewish daughters of the man never saw their father in 6 years, and I'm about to read you where they can fully confess to it. But just prior to this testimony, the other attorney for the trustee says, "Well, you don't know, the bond between the daughters and the father are so strong." But then the daughter's attorney come along and say, "Well, they never talked to him in 6 years," and he says, "Well, yeah, he changed his trust and gave him everything." The trust didn't give him everything. So this guy's off his rocker, and he's saying he was sharp and he was working. He wasn't working. He was in a coma for the last 6 months of his life. These people are idiots. Okay, so it says here on page 34 of the transcript, this guy, Mr. Horn, right? He says, the evidence will further show that this is the lawyer for the two daughters who never saw their father in 6 years. The evidence will further show that the two daughters had no involvement whatsoever in the creation, execution, or notarization of the trust at issue, but rather the trust was prepared by the father who never saw his daughters independently accord 4 months prior to his death, and with the assistance of his personal attorney, Rogers. Rogers never saw him either, who met with Lee to discuss his wishes. He did not meet with Lee. Considering these facts, look forward to setting the record straight and to put the baseless claims behind them. Okay, so let me go back to the previous page here. Okay, so it says here, the evidence will show that with regard to the two daughters, they did not have any. At the time the trust was executed, the two daughters, Maxine and Flora Ziprin, had almost no contact with their father in the preceding 5 years. Make it 6. The evidence will show that with regard to Maxine, she did not have any in-person contact with her father after 2014. And then he died again, because he got 6 months to live. And then every 6 months for 6 years, he never saw his daughter once. And supposedly, he came to life out of a coma and said, "Oh, I'm going to give him everything." The trust says to pay the siblings $30,000 plus 10% interest a year, and if they don't get it, it becomes a permanent lien on the property until paid in full. And they stole the property for $80,000 and shorted the siblings. So they killed their father through isolation, and then they ripped off so far, and we got to go to court and seek justice. That's what the purpose of this hearing is. Then they stole everything from his siblings, who are poor, starving, elderly, and homeless. Okay? The communications with her father were limited to 2 innocuous letters, the last of which was sent months prior to his executing the trust. Yeah, because they were telling him, if you change your trust, I'll come visit you. And then he changed his trust, and they didn't come visit. That with regard to Flora Ziprin, she had no written communication with her father, and her only contact with her father in the final 6 years of his life was a handful of phone calls and 3 brief in-person meetings, and 2 of those meetings occurred after the trust was executed. The evidence will further show that the two daughters had no involvement whatsoever in the creation, execution, judgment, or notarization of the trust at issue, but rather that the trust was prepared by Lee independently and of his own accord 4 months prior to his death, and with the assistance of his personal attorney, William Rogers, who met with Lee. He didn't meet with them. Considering these facts, Maxine and Flora Ziprin look forward to setting the record straight and put his narrow, baseless claims of undue influence to rest. That's it. Okay, brother. So it's my opening statement. That's your opening statement? Yes. In addressing Rogers' narration, I wanted to clarify a few truths. And I will start with the facts before me. Just give me a second. I want to get my thoughts together. I don't want to waste anybody's time. My brother passed away weeks before COVID shut the entire world down. Literally, petitioner worked night shift at a local hospital, making rounds out the base in a giant building for many years as an independent contractor. And petitioner also comes from 7 generations of very mystical lineage rabbis in Israel. That was Turkey at the time. Also has been a licensed EMT since 2006. As well as a phlebotomist about 15 years. I take my testimony very seriously. I don't take lightly lying, whether it's for spiritual reasons, my ancestors, or my personal religious convictions, or my professional obligations as a licensed emergency medical technician. So when I testify in court under oath, I don't lie. Okay, based on that, I'd like to say the following. Mr. Rogers mentioned a $30,000 offer to myself and my sisters. What I recall is my brother passed away, COVID shut down the world. Mr. Rogers, the trustee, and myself were on speaking terms, and we would have conversations by phone. We discussed religion. He would talk about his Sufi mysticism that he followed. So during one of the talks, he mentions, okay, I'm drifting here. We're on good